Christmas was fantastic. I think the kids enjoyed a little time off, chance to go home. I know personally, my family enjoyed it. I had my parents in town and my sister and her husband and their 3 kids. So we had 6 kids in the house, 10 years old and younger. So it was awesome.
When you give the guys a break like that and then they reconvene, do you worry how the first practice back is from a break?
Always, and it's something you try and inoculate yourself against by bringing it up beforehand, before you send them home. But our guys, was about to be expected today. We came out yesterday and did a little running, and the guys had quite a bit of juice, and they did a decent job today. But we'll have to improve as the week goes on to give ourselves a chance in this one.
Well, perhaps weird, and you've mentioned how this one's a little different with starting and stopping. What have you to kind of do other than mention it, try to kind of get the kids kind of prepared for that, and how have you approached that?
Well, we've approached it like in 3 segments. So during recruiting was more getting our bodies feeling better and getting in condition or maintaining our conditioning and developing the young people. Then the second segment there after recruiting and before Christmas was introduction of game plan and still development of young players. And then post-Christmas, this is game week. So today's a Tuesday for us, so we're on schedule, having worked on our opponent for, about a week.
Which phase would you not have had before? In previous bowl games, what's different? What did you have more of or less of, I guess, would be the...
Well, I would say, we usually try and do it about like that. They're just a little bit shorter. Like we had just a little bit more time. We had 2 full weeks of recruiting with 2 weekend practices and then another essential full week of prep before Christmas. And now this week of prep. So, in short, usually it's kind of the same philosophy, only the segments or the blocks are a little shorter.
Ricky Walker said he was feeling actually better with some of the kind of time. Have you noticed some of the guys that were banged up a little more bounce in their step now, especially as you had a lot of defense banged up?
Sure. Well, we've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps, and getting those guys feeling better is the first priority. So yeah, I have seen some guys that are moving around better, and it's not just a maintenance thing of from week to week to week trying to get to where you feel better and know what to do. It's a little bit more of let's get feeling great, and then figure out what to do.
So did your boys have a little extra bounce in their step after getting to go home and spend time with the family before getting back to practice?
They did. Yesterday when we came out here in the evening time and did a little bit of running, they were doing cartwheels. I didn't know Hezekiah Grimsley, he's a pretty good little gymnast. It scared me a little bit, but yeah, they were flying around, bouncing around, having a good time.
What was it like to get to have that time off with your family? I know you did have your parents were in town, your sister was here. Got to have those family traditions that you don't always get to have.
Well, it was a blast, and for me personally, not just for my girls and my wife, but to have my family there was pretty cool. I can't remember the last time that we were all together like that. It just doesn't happen very often between bowl games and work and all that sort of stuff. So it was a pretty special one. I'll remember it for a while, long time.
How do you treat a bowl game in terms of like travel roster? Do you bring everybody, including the red shirts, or
we do.
People are going to play? Okay.
Yeah, we do. But what we do is we as we approach the game, as we approach the game, meaning what would be our Thursday prep, we start to divide up in like travel squads. So we have the meals became more separate. It's kind of as if we went to the game. But for right now, we're all together.
If I look at how many games Josh Jackson played this year, I think he would be eligible for a medical hardship if he wanted it. Does that factor in? I think I saw him in practice in one of the videos before. Do you hold him out of that game to keep that option there?
Well, he's not going to play, but not because of that. He's just not ready to play. There's no way I would feel good about putting him out there right now. He's just not cleared and not healthy enough to go play. And all of those things, Andy, we get a chance to, there's no timetable for making those decisions. So, as we sit down after everything's over, if that's something that Josh is eligible for and wants to pursue, then we'll kind of like Deshaun McCleese last year. When that was announced, that's when it actually happened. It wasn't during the season that all got decided.
With Cincinnati, we haven't asked you much after you've kind of done your scouting and look at them. Anything jump out after you guys have kind of, dug a little deeper on them?
Yeah, there's a reason they've won 10 ball games. They're extremely well coached. They have a very efficient running attack. They're got big playmakers on the outside, and their quarterback just seems to keep making plays. They won 10 ball games and lost. The 2 games they lost were to very, very accomplished football teams. You look at them on the defensive side of the ball, and a lot of pressure, man coverage, with a little bit of zone mixed in there. Really challenging people as opposed to laying back, an attacking style, which would be a tremendous challenge.
How hard is it to get your scout offense to resemble their offense, where they have those 2 running backs and such versatile quarterback?
Well, that's probably the biggest challenge every single week, is to get your scout group on both sides of the ball to do their best to mimic what you're going to see. There's some things that you can't teach them to mimic, size and speed. You can teach them the scheme and the characteristics of the team you're going against, but sometimes there's no substitute for the size and speed you're going to face. So we try to simulate that with some good versus good work, some ones versus ones, and with the extended prep time, we've been able to get some of that.
You've had guys sort of on the borderline of playing, like Hazelton and Nijman, the last couple weeks of the season. Does the month off get them in a category where you feel confident about them playing?
I do. I feel much better. Nige practiced today. Damon was full go today, so I feel much better than I have. That those guys, barring a setback, should be okay.
Did you see Kenny Canham over there?
I did. Saw Kenny.
Chat with him?
I asked him if he had any more snaps in him. It's good to see the old guys come back. Kenny was not just a very good player, but was a good student, a good representation of Virginia Tech, and was part of that senior class that went through the transition. And I'm glad to know that he feels comfortable coming back and being around us. It's always good to see those guys.